What's up? What's up? All right. The title of today's discussion is Create with Every Emotion, the Alchemy of Manifest. And let me make sure I'm live. We can get started. So this conversation is actually inspired by here we go. All right. What do you do with your negative emotions, with the emotions that you do not want to feel? Do you try to run away from them? Do you just allow those emotions to run through your body? Or do you use those emotions to actually create the scenarios that you like, that you want? We're going to talk about alchemy and manifestation. And hopefully I put things in a new perspective for you, right? By the end of this discussion, I want you to look at every emotion as powerful. I want you to look at whether you feel good or feel bad as power. Whether you're in anxiety or whether you're feeling very comfortable, I want you to think about those as power. So we're going to talk about all of that today. Stop running from yourself and from your emotions and use all of them to create the life that you want. Okay, so what if your anger was sacred fuel and not something to suppress, but something to shape into power? You keep asking for motivation, for clarity, for a sign, yet you ignore the raw energy already surging through you. Emotion is power. We're just the ones who judge it and say, oh, this one's a negative emotion. This one's a positive emotion. It's just energy. Emotion is power. Emotion is life force. When you feel anxiety, when you feel fear, when you feel anger, when you feel joy, right? It's all just energy. It is all power, and it's all there for you to use to create, okay? So emotion is life force. And until you stop judging your feelings and start channeling them, you are leaving your greatest creative force untapped, all right? So, okay, what should I do with anxiety? Create with it. Talk the shit that you want. What should I do with betrayal? Create with it. Talk the shit of who you really are. What should you do with sadness? Talk about what you would prefer. You use all of your emotions to build the life that you want. Use it all, okay? The fury, the heartbreak, the restless energy that won't let you sleep. Speak into your desires with your full chest. Don't wait to feel calm and collected before you take action. Use the chaos as your catalyst. Alchemize your anxiety into clarity. How do you do that? You speak it. Just say the word. Just say the word, right? When you speak through whatever emotion you are feeling, you are powerful, all right? Turn your grief into prayer. Let your desire be loud. Let your soul be gritty, be grimy, right? Let your voice quake with purpose. You are not here to be numb. You're not here to run. You are divine. You are here to create like a badass, okay? Fueled by the full spectrum of your human experience. You are not weak for feeling. You are powerful because you can feel deeply. Your superpower are your emotions, all of them. Not the ones, if you look on a high vibration scale, it's just energy, right? What is the story that you're telling as you're going through that feeling? All right, so Ephesians 4:26, be angry, but sin not. Now, when I say sin, I'm not talking about a worldly definition of sin, right? I'm not talking about, relying on some human constructed moral compass. What I'm talking about is you have your desire. You know where you want to go, what you want to achieve. Do you allow your anger or your sadness to become a sin against yourself? Do you use your emotions as an excuse to speak against what you want, or do you use them as fuel? You should be looking out for your emotions. Your only job is to be conscious, right? So whether you're happy, or whether you're going through a difficult time, your job is just to tell the correct story. Why wouldn't you use every single emotion towards your benefit, for your benefit? Why wouldn't you? Okay? The purpose of your quote unquote negative emotions isn't to stay still. Energy wants to move. It wants to travel. It wants to transmute. So you're either speaking it to what you want, or you're just holding on to it. Because people have said, oh, just feel it until it goes away. Use it until it goes away. Use it. Okay? This actually stemmed from a powerful conversation I had with one of my homeboys yesterday, right? We were just talking and chopping it up, and we do business together. And something did not go well. And his first thought, right, he went into meditation while he was feeling what he was feeling. And he just envisioned how people did me wrong and I am going to show them. This is alchemy in its purest form. This person did me wrong. This situation looks wrong. I experienced this. I'm not running from my emotion. Now I am using that to fuel me towards what I actually want to experience. The purpose of your quote unquote negative feelings is just to give you clarity on what you want. That is it. And you are here as a divine alchemist to take every emotion and take it and punt it towards what you want so that those things can start rolling in towards you. All right. Psalm 139:12. Even the darkness is not dark to you. And of course, it's talking about the Most High, but the Most High dwells within you. Even the darkness, even what you see as negative, is not negative to source. It is just energy. So if it's not negative to source, why would it be negative to me? I simply take every energy, all emotion that I feel, and I point them towards what I want. I don't care if you're sad, if you feel betrayed, if you have anxiety. This is the time where you are powerful. Do you understand how powerful you are when you're feeling those things? So do you use that emotion to start speaking life to what you want, or do you run from those emotions? Okay? All right, so transmute the storm, the alchemy of emotion. We have been taught to fear our feelings, to run from rage, right? To numb the grief, to silence the sadness with smiles, and suppress the shame with distractions. But what if I told you that the very emotions you've been taught to suppress are sacred? That beneath every dark emotion is not a curse, but a current. And every current carries power. If you dare to feel it, face it, and channel it. Every emotion is a current of energy running through you. You are an electrical being, right? You're just solidified electricity. That's what you are, okay? And so when you understand that your emotion is just energy flowing through you, then you should be excited anytime you feel anything. You are powerful because you can feel deeply. This is your power. So why would you waste an opportunity to create? Instead of sitting and sulking in the pain, think about what you want. Imagine what you are. Grant yourself the things that you desire, okay? So I don't want to give the specific example, but let's make something up, right? Matter of fact, let me use a personal example. I've had plenty times where I've went through issues where maybe someone didn't, quote unquote, believe in me. We all have these scenarios in our mind. So what do? Do we sit in the pain of that experience, or do we allow that pain to provide us, to be the catalyst, to be the springboard to where we say, okay, cool, you don't feel that way about me. Let me show you. Which way do you go? You can take the path of creation, or you can take the path of bitterness. You can sit and sulk and you can say, dang, man, I don't know why they feel like that. Or you can say, okay, I'm going to use this energy because I feel a certain way. Anytime I feel anything, this is an opportunity to create. It's not an opportunity to run from it. It is simply an opportunity to imagine, okay, when I have the things that I want, how would I feel right now? You grant yourself those things right now. Your energy is simply power. It's just waiting on you to direct it. Okay? Do not allow your emotions to control your thoughts. Your emotions are simply energy in your body. You are the consciousness above them. You are the consciousness directing them towards what you want. Right? You do not become a slave to your body. Because somebody hurt you, don't sit and replay the same sad story in your mind over and over and over again. Right? You step into your power as a divine creator. Right? This is why when we talk about accountability, it's the first thing we talk about on the spiritual path. Right? Is accountability. If you want to change your life, you have to be accountable. And what you have to do is you have to take that version of you that's used to being a victim, the woe is me, man, men are like this and women are like this. And my ex did this, and my teacher said that, and my parents didn't show up. And you have to kill that version of you that's looking around and making excuses, okay? And so anytime that I have a feeling, I have to step into my power. I can either tell the story of a victim and create more victim scenarios in my life. Sounds like fun, right? Or I can step into the power of a creator And I can use whatever energy, positive, negative, I don't give a damn what it is. I only tell the story of the things that I want. You never speak against your desires. You never speak against who you are. You never speak against what you want. You don't think against it. You do not speak against it. What story are you conscious of telling in every moment? And when you step into this, right, when you step into this mindset, you'll use any emotion. You'll use any emotion to tell the story of who you are. That's the purpose of an emotion, is to let you know that in this moment right now, you're powerful. What do you want to do? In this moment that you're sad right now, you're powerful. What do you want to do? In this moment that you feel anxiety, you are powerful. What do you want to do? In this moment where you're laughing, where you're feeling deep love, deep gratitude, you're powerful. What do you want to do? Just polarities. It's just energy. It's just two different sides of the scale, right? Hot and cold, they're just energy, right? They are just energy. All right, so energy is energy. It is not inherently good or bad, only judged, only labeled. What you call negative is often just unfamiliar or unexpressed, right? You feel a little anxiety because you're scared of the discomfort of not knowing what's ahead. You don't know the next moment, right? And so instead of creating the next moment, right, because this is how we're trained to do. We're not trained to create. We're not programmed to create, right? We're programmed to be victims. So instead of saying, oh, I have anxiety, this is an opportunity for me to actually create, we say, oh, I have an anxiety, let me just think of all the things that I don't want. The anxiety is just showing you that you have power. That's it, okay? So anger is passion that has lost direction. Anxiety is power that has no what? No grounding. Anxiety is power that has no grounding. Grief, what is grief? Grief is love that had nowhere to go. You were directing all your love somewhere and all of a sudden that's gone. And now you experience grief because that love has nowhere to go. Give it somewhere to go. Okay? But in the hands of a conscious creator, even rage becomes fuel, sadness becomes song, and fear becomes fire for the altar of your purpose. Right? Energy is energy in motion, or emotion is energy in motion. The word emotion literally means energy in motion. It is meant to move through you, not stay stagnant. When you suppress it, it festers. When you judge it, it controls you. But when you witness it without shame, you don't run from it. You are a divine God. You are a divine goddess. There is nothing for you to run from. You are the source of it all. The same energy that flows through you creates worlds and universes. Okay? So when you judge it, it controls you. But when you witness it without shame, when you give it breath and shape, it becomes fuel for the fire of your becoming. Imagine taking your heartbreak and painting with it. Imagine taking your anger and turning it into wealth. Imagine transmuting your tears into prayer, your pain into presence, and your pressure into power. This is the magic that is within you. Instead of using those emotions to create more scenarios like the ones you don't want, use those emotions to create the divine, beautiful things that you want, okay? So stop labeling and start listening. You are not weak for feeling. You are powerful because you can feel deeply. Think about that. The deeper you feel, the more powerful you are. When you feel that intense rage, sadness, fear, anxiety, love, joy, happiness, you are powerful. You're powerful, okay? Don't label emotions as negative or unspiritual. Spirituality is not about bypassing, it is about alchemizing. Stop saying this is bad energy and start asking, what is this energy trying to show me? Anything that you don't like, right? You're just remembering yourself incorrectly. Any negative feeling, you're just remembering yourself incorrectly. There's only one emotion. It is source energy. You just tend to feel when that energy is flowing through you in certain situations because you have an ego. And that ego tells stories, right? Your ego attaches to certain things that feel familiar and it says, this is good. And certain things that feel unfamiliar and it says, oh no, I don't like this. And that one energy, that source energy that flows through you, right? When your ego has a positive story, a quote unquote positive story, right? Now all of a sudden, boom, you feel a positive emotion because you're like, oh, I'm happy because this is cool. This is good. It's all working out. I'm happy, right? But then you feel anxiety because you're unsure, right? What is anxiety? We just said it, right? There's no grounding. It's emotion with no grounding, right? It's pure emotion, just no grounding. We feel anxiety, all right? And so it's really just your ego telling a story that is untrue about yourself, and you feel that emotion as anxiety. But this is the time to create. And you don't have to, and to answer your question, you don't have to go into meditation. You don't have to do anything. You just have to know, when I feel this power flowing through me, this is the time to be very mindful of the story that I'm telling about who I am right now. All right? A good mantra is just everything is working out for me. An even better thing to do, right, is actually tell the story of who you are going to be to feel opposite of this. For instance, if you've been betrayed by someone, right? If you've had your heart broken by somebody, tell the story of the person that you are right now that doesn't get their heart broken anymore because people flock to them. People love them. People, can't get you out their mind. You have to be very creative, right? What we want out of our life is going to be a story that's very specific to us. So your emotion is just giving you an opportunity to be very mindful of that story in that moment, right? The story of Job, right? Anybody can be positive. Anybody can tell the right story when everything is going good, but who are you when you're pissed off? When you feel betrayed? When you're scared? When you're feeling anxiety, who are you then? What story are you telling? So when we talk about that disconnection, it's beautiful once you get to the point where you truly can disconnect from life. You experience life fully, but you disconnect from judging the emotions. Yes, I feel anxiety, time to create. Yes, I feel anger, I'm more powerful, let me be more mindful of my story. This is consciousness 101, right? So the more conscious we are, the more aware we are of what? Of self. Because we are conscious, because you are infinite consciousness, the only thing for you to do is be conscious of something. Since everything out there is starting from within you, the only thing to be conscious of is yourself. So the more conscious you become, where you can go through life and you can allow this third dimension, this avatar that you are in, to experience life fully, knowing that you can make no mistakes. When you walk through life with that knowing, right? Whatever you feel is what you feel. You're always in control of the story that you're telling when you feel that thing, okay? You're always in control of the story that you're telling. Really, this is the only thing that you can control, is the story that you're telling. You can either create the story, right? Life and death is in the power of the tongue. You can either create a story, create a beautiful story to walk into in the next moment, and tomorrow, and the next year, and the next week, or you can create more of the same. It's always up to you. Okay? The only thing to be conscious of is self. That is it. All right? So don't label emotions as negative or unspiritual. Spirituality is not about bypassing. It is about alchemizing. Stop saying this is bad energy and start asking, what is this energy trying to show me? It's just giving me clarity on what I want. If I feel good, I want more of it. When I don't feel good, I don't want more of it. I want to choose different, so I choose different by how? By telling another story and giving it to myself in this present moment, meaning I tell the story of what I want, but I don't do it in the future, right? We don't chase. So what is chasing? Chasing is anytime I put something in the future, I have to chase it, right? If I say, oh, one day I'm gonna be this person and then I'm gonna get that thing. What I'm doing is I'm creating a timeline. I'm creating space that I have to chase down to get something. You are the person who has that thing right now. You are exactly who you need to be to have that thing right now. So one good story, one good mantra is I am that I am, and that is enough for everything that I want. Right? I am divine. Right now, I am in perfect alignment with every delicious, every divine desire that I have. Right now, I am the creator, right? I am the source of it all, and there is nothing outside of me. What story are you telling? Okay, so what if your fear was just your soul saying that this matters to you? Okay, slow down. This matters to you. This is something to pay attention to. Be conscious of, okay? What if your jealousy was your deeper self saying, there's something here you desire to embody? Right? Jealousy is misplaced energy as well. Right? Why are you jealous? Because you think you can't have something. You can only see it if it was something that you could experience. So just choose to have something similar. Choose to have that. Okay? I thought that was a question. That's why I was taking my time. But yes, indeed. Okay. So the power is not in feeling. All right. So the power is not in feeling positive emotions all the time. All right. The power is in feeling, point blank, period. Just feeling is powerful. You are powerful because you feel deeply. The power is in knowing what to do with what you feel. That is alchemy. Right? Like how we just kind of gradually led up to this, right? We've been talking about manifesting. We've been talking about how to handle negative emotions. Then we talked about alchemy. Now it is time to really step into that conscious creator bag. Walk through life, and whatever emotion you're experiencing, use it. Okay? So when something triggers, you ask, what belief is being touched? What need is being unmet? What desire is being denied? And then grant yourself those things. Then go into your imagination, go into your affirmation bag, get into this present moment and give yourself these things. Okay? Move the energy. Okay? Move this energy. Write, create, pray. And we know prayers, every thought is a prayer, right? So when I say pray, what am I talking about? I am talking about speaking what you want, speaking divinely, understanding that you are the temple of the divine. And just like the word will tell you, watch your mouth when you walk into church, you need to watch your mouth with everything that you speak, because everything that comes from within you is coming from the temple. You are always within the temple. All right? So move the energy, write, create, pray, dance, lift, run, scream into a pillow, and then talk your shit about who you really are. Talk your shit about who you really are. All right? And this is a journey. This is a lifelong journey. Right? How long do you have to be conscious? Forever? All right? So this is just like lifting weights, running a marathon. If you've never ran a mile before and you get up today and you try to go run a mile, good luck. You're going to feel like your lungs are on fire. You're going to feel like somebody just poured fire down your throat. Right? But if you keep doing it over and over and over again, you get better at it. How conscious are you of the story that you're telling? Are you the type of person that talks the shit about the things that they want, or talks shit about the things they don't want? Are you the type of person who bonds over trauma? You bond because you and this other person do not like the same things. Oh, we don't like the same shit. Let's talk about it more together and create more of it. Or are you consciously creating the things that you want in your life? Okay? Energy that is moved becomes a miracle. And suppressed, it becomes sickness. Literal sickness, right? Those energies, when you're suppressing things, people that are always angry and suppressing emotions, and how does it manifest? Physical ailments, physical issues, okay? So desire is the direction and emotion is the fuel. Think about that. Your desire is constant, right? Your desire is growing, but you know what you desire. Emotion is just the fuel behind that desire. So you should always be speaking towards what you desire, thinking towards what you desire. So this is the direction that you are pushing yourself through this linear timeline to experience. Okay? So as you always speak what you desire, then once you speak those things, they're what? Projected from within you into this moment, really. And all right, I was gonna summarize this real quick. But anytime that you speak that you have a desire in this present moment, what actually happens? is this desire is then projected from within you. There's a version of you that has it right now. And so because you are Source created this reality. Why? To experience itself, to get to know itself. And how does it do that, right? By experiencing the unfolding of its desires one moment after the next. So you have a desire, it's immediately projected from within you into this linear third dimensional reality. And you walk moment by moment to meet yourself, to meet old versions of you over and over again, okay? So as you are doing this, if you're only speaking in the direction that you want, right? You use your emotions that pop up as the fuel to push you in that direction faster, quicker. This is how you can imagine alchemy. Your emotions are just energy. You have the choice to push that energy in whatever direction that you want, okay? So don't just heal to feel better. Heal so you can channel your life force into creation. Your desire is a divine GPS. An emotion, any emotion can be the fuel that powers the journey. Let your frustration push you into focus. Let your sadness open your heart. Let your confusion lead you into surrender. All right, we've talked about this all the time. When you master your inner dialogue, the voice in your head, the words that you speak, when you actually master these things, you can lay aside all other techniques. Just like Neville said, right? You don't have to sit in meditation all the time. You don't have to sit and visualize all the time or sit and affirm all the time. Once you master your inner speech, the story that you're telling every single moment, right, you can put down any other technique. So in an emotion, any emotion can be the fuel that powers the journey. Let your frustration push you into focus. Let your sadness open your heart. Let your confusion lead you into surrender. You do not need to be in a perfect emotional state to begin creating your dream. You only need to direct the energy that is already within you. All right? So even the mystics felt deeply, right? All the mystics felt deeply, right? Christ felt deeply. Right? Even the metaphor of the crucifixion. This is a metaphor of alchemy. That it does not matter how deep the suffering you're experiencing is. You too can rise in consciousness. You too can turn this pain into power. You too can allow this pain. You can transmute whatever you are going through into your salvation. That source that's within you, that I am awareness, that Christ consciousness, all that is within you is ready to be used. You are the one who is judging things as negative and positive. It's all just energy. It is all just a tool. The moment you start doing that, you'll jump from emotion to emotion, using them as fuel. The fear, the sadness, the anxiety, the same as the happiness, the joy, right? The love, the sex, all these things, all these emotions. It's just energy. It's just energy meant to help push you in the direction of what you want. What good is it that in a low energy state, you're thinking about the things that you desire, but all of a sudden when you're in a high energy state, you're thinking against yourself? Think about that. And you're wondering why things are not changing. Speak the story that you want, regardless of how you feel, or irrespective of how you feel. All right? So feeling does not make you broken, it makes you human. And being fully human is the bridge to the divine. Try not to resist the changes that come your way. When we talk about detachment, right, and detaching from the path, the higher your consciousness is, right, the more you'll understand that detachment is detaching from everything. It is allowing yourself to have a human experience, going through things and being very slow to judge good and bad. Right? Trying to avoid judging things at all, simply seeing things the way that you want to see them, and allowing life to unfold beautifully from within you. Everything that you are in right now in this present moment has unfolded from within you from past versions of yourself. And as you're moving, as you're constantly taking steps, moment to moment, you are switching frames in the film of your life, right? You're being projected into different past moments. So everything that you're thinking from right now, the story that you're telling right now, in the next moment, in this moment, in this moment, it's just being projected from within you, and you are constantly confronting yourself. There's nothing to resist. It's simply to be mindful of the story that you're telling. All right, so practical alchemy tools. Let's talk about some practical tools to change the way that you view your emotions. All right. So number one is going to be breath work. Okay. You are solidified electricity. Okay. So move the emotion through the body. Okay. Let it rise. Let it fall. All right. Wim Hof breathing techniques. Have you ever heard of Wim Hof? A lot of his techniques are on YouTube. You can look him up. He has a lot of good breath work. Okay. Number two, journaling prompts. Okay. If you're feeling this quote unquote negative energy, then really ask yourself, what am I actually feeling underneath this reaction? And what does this emotion want me to know? If you really think about the times you don't feel good, it's just giving you clarity on what you really want to experience. You're experiencing something right now. You're thinking about something right now that you don't want to experience. So instead of focusing on what you don't want, get clarity on what you do want, right? You'll find that in a lot of people's lives, right? I'm about to drop a bar. In a lot of people's lives, when they feel like they're experiencing a lot of negative things, what you'll realize when you start speaking to them is they have a lot more clarity. They can tell a much deeper story about the things they don't want than the things they do want. They can tell you with absolute certainty, round for round, if this happens, then this is going to happen, and this might happen, but if that doesn't happen, then this will happen. And they'll take you through a chain of events of all the negative things that could happen. What if it all goes right, though? Oh, well, that'd be nice. There's no clarity. They haven't thought about it. So you can tell that the story that's been going on up here has just been focused on things they don't want. This is how the world programs you, right? Be realistic means be negative. And what is being negative? Thinking negative is sinning against yourself. It's missing the mark. It's getting out of alignment with that divine, with that source within you that is whispering into your mind the things that it wants you to experience. And so when you have a desire, it's a source also giving you that desire. And so when you're going off the path, when you're veering off the path, you are sinning. And the word is telling you be realistic. They're telling you it's a sin. So anytime that you find, if you believe that if I say be realistic and you start thinking negatively, well, I guess you're right. I gotta calm down, tone down the optimism. If you start thinking like that, you are sinning against yourself, man. All right? So get clarity on what your negative emotions are actually trying to tell you. They're just trying to show you what you actually want. They're trying to show you you're remembering yourself wrong. You're forgetting that you are source. You're forgetting that you are divine. Think about what you want instead. Okay? So do you use your emotions as an excuse to feel negative, to start thinking negative? Oh, I feel bad, so let me just go on and start thinking all this shit that'll never happen. Or do you use that time to create? All right, so movement as well. Don't just sit with it. Okay? Shake, dance, run, exercise. All right? Let your body sometimes process what your mind can't. Creative channeling, turning pain into poetry, into music, into art. Okay? Turning resistance into rhythm. And then my personal favorite alchemy tool is creating from the villain identity. It's speaking exactly what you want in that moment where you feel down and out. It is using that energy to put myself in the mindset of who I am going to be or who I am right now or what I want to experience. I was going to try to say that in a poetic way. But if you're feeling betrayed, think about the version of you that doesn't get betrayed. Who would you be? And be that person right now. Use that energy. If you're feeling heartbreak, what's the version of you that doesn't experience heartbreak? Because people would be crazy to leave your ass. Embody that person right now. Right? If you feel unsupported, what's the version of you that gets supported? Embody that right now. If you feel lack, what's the version of you that has prosperity? Embody that right now. It's the story that you are telling. This emotion is just energy for you to use. Do not use it as an excuse to tell a story that you do not want to experience. All right. And then, so number 7, a sacred reminder. You are not here to be perfect. Okay. You are here to be present. And in your presence, all things are transformed. You're here to be present, meaning conscious. Consciousness is presence. Consciousness is presence, man. The same way that you could have a conversation with somebody and you can tell if they're not really all the way there. This person, their mind is off. They're not being present with me. This is the same way that infinite intelligence can tell if you are being conscious and present with it or not. And if you have a bunch of things that you want, you can look at your life right now and your life can be a measurement of how present you have been. If you haven't been present enough with your thoughts of prosperity and you've caught yourself veering off into lack, your bank account will show that. If you haven't been present with the story that you're telling about the relationships you want to experience, and your mind's been veering off the path, your relationships right now will show that. Everything in your life is showing you about yourself. That's it. So there's nothing to run from. You simply observe. As the observer, you accept where you have been and you change the story from now forever. Be present with yourself. Okay? You're not here to be perfect. You are here to be present. And in your presence, all things are transformed. Your pain is not your enemy. It is your invitation. Your emotions are not wild beasts to be tamed. All right? Emotional regulation. When we talk about that, I'm not talking about, at least when I talk about it, I'm not talking about it from a perspective of, look at this Buddhist who never gets mad. No, they're just able to channel their energy different. Right? It's not about suppressing anything. We talk about emotional control. It's not about suppressing anything, right? You don't want to do anything dumb that's going to throw away your life when you're going through these heavy emotions, but you want to use these emotions to tell the story of the things you want to experience. That is their purpose, okay? Your emotions are not wild beasts to be tamed, but sacred rivers to be honored. Allow them to flow through you. Allow them to tell the story. And allow the story that you are telling to ride the waves of your emotion out into this reality and change your reality. All right. So, quote from Rumi, the wound is the place where the light enters you. This is the purpose of your wounds, of your heartbreaks, your betrayals, your anxiety. These are times where this energy is flowing, where you have to be the one to let the light in, right? Because no one can save you from your fear or your anxiety, right? Or your betrayal or your heartbreak. Nobody can save you from those things. But it's in those dark moments that you allow the light to come in by starting to tell the story of the things that you want and allowing your life to be transformed from that. All right. Ephesians 4:26, be angry, but sin not. We already talked about sin. I'm not talking about some human moral construct that was just put up for people to follow. I'm talking about when you are sinning, you are missing the mark on what you want. You are sinning against yourself. The only person you can sin against is yourself, because everybody out there is you. Everything is you. It's all a projection from within you. So when you're not thinking of people ideally, when you're not thinking of yourself ideally, okay, you are sinning against yourself. You are missing the mark. All right? So be angry, but sin not. What would sin be if you're angry? Sin will be starting to speak the things that I do not want because I'm angry. You can be sad all you want. Do not sin. What would be sinning when I'm sad? Speaking all the shit that I don't want to experience. That's what it is. All right? Psalm 139:12. Even the darkness is not dark to you. Right? Even the shit that you think is negative is not negative to source. And source is within you. Right? Even the pain that you feel is not pain to source. Source is infinite love, infinite intelligence, infinite consciousness, infinite presence, infinite love, infinite perfection, right? This is all flowing within you. It's one emotion. The only reason that you feel it as negative or sad or down is because you're remembering who you are incorrectly. Anytime you experienced a heartbreak, if you were truly in alignment with yourself, if you truly understood who you are, you would know that you could either have that situation run it back to you, or you could get something a lot better with no problem, with no sweat. Because that is the power that you have within yourself. But because you remember yourself incorrectly, what do you say? You say, God, why did this happen? I'm never gonna get over this. Yes, you will, just like you've gotten over all those other ones. You're forgetting who you are, so you're telling this story that's not compatible with source within you, so now you start feeling off. You feel down. Okay? You're just remembering yourself wrong. You're the creator. You're never a victim. You couldn't be a victim. Right? Your ego can pretend to be a victim, but your ego is not even a real person. Right? It's just a construct. It's just a way of thought. It's not real. Your ego is not real. You are real. You are the ever-present infinite consciousness behind this body. You are just observing life through this consciousness. Right? You'll even see if you meditate long enough, you're not this body at all. Your mind is everywhere. Your mind's not singularly located right here. Your mind is everywhere. We think that astral projection is leaving the body. There's no body to leave, right? You're always everywhere. You're just observing from this perspective. You're just observing from this perspective, all right? So reflection questions. Number one, what emotions do I resist feeling and why? Are there emotions you run from? Maybe around certain subjects, around certain people. Are there certain things in your life that you avoid? Maybe financially, maybe when it comes to love. Oh, I just don't want to love anybody anymore. Are you one of those people? What is that emotion trying to tell you about yourself? All right? Have you made a false idol of someone on the internet who has told you to think this way about men, or think this way about women, or think this way about money? And now you believe that their word runs your reality. Their perspective now governs your reality. They are the law. You know what Lord translated from the Old Testament is? Lord, it means law. So now they are your law. What they said, because they said some shit about women, about men, now all of a sudden you said, you know what? They're right. They're so smart. Even though it's not something that you want. And because you believe in it, your reality follows and says, yes, okay, cool. If that's what you want to believe, then we will show you that. Okay? So anytime that we take beliefs from other people that we don't even want, and we start implementing them in our own mind, it outpictures from within us. And now we're living by the law of Greg and Susie and Jim, instead of the law of yourself, or the source within you. All right? Number two, what would it look like to channel this energy instead of suppressing it? What would it look like? Instead of suppressing energy, you started using it. You started to ride the wave of your emotions. You started to detach from this human vessel. You allowed it to experience pain, love, loss, excitement, joy, and you allowed it to be in all of those emotions, but all you were conscious of was the story that you were telling through every scenario. In the good times, you were enjoying all the beauty that was unfolding around you. And in the down moments, you simply used it as an opportunity to create with more clarity. You understood that the only reason I'm experiencing this quote unquote negatively is because I have an incorrect worldview. I have an incorrect view of myself. I'm thinking of myself as too small. This situation is just giving me more clarity on what I want. That's it. That's its purpose. Okay? Number three, what desire is hiding underneath this emotion? Because I just kind of went over that, right? You have this negative emotion for a reason. What desire is actually hiding underneath it? You feel jealousy. Why? Why? Do you really analyze yourself and think about that? Do you really ask yourself these questions? Why do I have jealousy? Anything that you see is a clear sign. Everything that you see is a synchronicity. It's a sign that you can have it too. You too can be prosperous. You too can experience love. You too can have that car. You too can live in that spot. You too can have all of that. Why are you jealous? Because you're remembering yourself incorrectly. You think you can't have that shit. Oh, they always get that shit. How come other people do that? It just seems like the people that do wrong get all the money. Why do we think like that? Okay? So what desire is hiding underneath this emotion? Even the emotion of loss and grief, right? We talk about grief. Grief is just love with no direction. The thing or the person that you were aiming that love at is now gone, and we feel grief. Even though loss is an illusion, there's no loss in the kingdom, right? You can circle back with anybody who walked out your life. If you really want them back, you can circle back with anybody that has left you. Shit, they can come back the next day when you get your mind right. Okay? So there is no loss in the kingdom. Even death is an illusion. This is the significance even of Jesus representing your I am awareness, raising Lazarus from the dead after 4 days. Because even when he pulled up to the tomb, all his disciples were like, man, I wish you had came a day sooner. Because they believed that after 3 days, the soul leaves the body. This was the belief. After 3 days, the body's dead for 3 days, the soul leaves the body after the third, so it can't be resurrected now. This is why Jesus wept. It says Jesus wept after this, right? Looking at them like, okay, y'all of little faith, do you not know the power of your I am awareness? Do you not know the power of the consciousness that flows through all of us? Right? There is no death. So this is even metaphorically what it meant. Okay? So what desire is hiding underneath this emotion? So in conclusion, right? In conclusion, you are not weak for feeling. You are powerful because you can feel deeply. Your emotions are a gateway to everything that you want. Not just the good ones, the negative ones as well. The negative ones as well. The next time that you are in your meditation, you're in your crib, you're alone, right? Whatever emotion that you have, don't judge it, don't suppress it, don't run from it, use it. Man, I just thought there was a movie. If you ever seen Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, there is an episode where Strange goes into another reality. What do they call it? I think they call it like night walking or something. Anyways, you can visit this parallel reality, this parallel universe, and you can inhabit the body, your own body in this other universe, and you can walk around for a little bit. All right. And so what actually happened when he jumped into a reality where he was dead? He jumped into a reality where he was dead. All of these, I guess, little demons started attacking him. They started attacking him. And from the other side, his woman was his wannabe woman was there, right? And he popped up out of that reality because he was tripping. They were trying to fight him. He didn't know what to do. And she said, you are the master of the mystic arts. Like, use them. It's basically a line like, remember who you are. And at that moment, he just woke up. Instead of pushing these demons away, he started grabbing them and then using them to kind of enhance his power. This is the same way that I want you to think about your emotions, right? Instead of running from them and pushing them away, you can grab these emotions. You can ride these emotions. You can tell the story of what you want through these emotions. You can become the master alchemist, right? You can become the master alchemist, and you can turn pain into purpose. You can turn betrayal into wealth, right? You can turn heartbreak into a divine connection. You could turn whatever emotion that you have into whatever you want. If you have a singular desire right now that's just been eating you up, maybe it's $1,000,000, right? Everything that you experience can now be directed towards what you want. Everything that you experience. Okay. Ooh, does doing that bring karma? Which part? The part about using the negative emotions? I want to say no, but let me make sure that then I know which part you're talking about. But no, using your own emotions, unless I said, no, I didn't say anything. No, using your own emotions will not bring karma. You know, everyone is just you pushed out. No, that's not gonna bring you karma. What you experience is what you experience. Now, the story that you tell after that experience, that is just what creates your life. You're not trying to get back at them or hurt them or tear them down or whatever. You are just using whatever emotion is flowing through you to build something better, to help other people. Right now, if you were doing it specifically just to get back at somebody, then we have to remember that vengeance belongs to the Lord, right? This is why we have to forgive. This is just a clever way of saying that we need to forgive everybody. Right? We have to see others the way that we want them to be. But nah, I won't bring negative karma. I appreciate you. I appreciate that question. I don't have a specific space, but I do put these documents on YouTube. So they are all on the YouTube channel, and you can grab the document, you can download it and do whatever, but the documents are skeletons, right? I just read lines off of it, and then I just freestyle off the rest of them. But yeah, all the documents are on there. You can do whatever with them. The first journal prompt, yeah, for sure. Let me get that for you. So the reflection question number 1 was, what emotions do I resist feeling and why? I'm not gonna stop you from jumping on a good old YouTube. But yeah, the first journal question is, what emotions do I resist feeling and why? Number 2 is, what would it look like to channel this energy instead of suppressing it? And then number 3 is, what desire is hiding underneath this emotion? What would it look like to channel this energy instead of suppressing it? What desire is hiding underneath this emotion? These are really powerful tools, right? Those, asking yourself that. And then when you become conscious enough to really ask yourself that at every moment, right? This is when you truly become the conscious creator of your reality, right? Everything wants your consciousness. Everything's fighting for your consciousness. Let's really think about this, okay? The news is fighting for your consciousness. The music is fighting for your consciousness. If a song can get stuck in your head, it can get more plays, the artist can make more money, some agenda can get passed to you, right? Politics wants your consciousness. Your friends want your consciousness. Your woman, your man wants your consciousness. Your parents want your consciousness. Your job, they for sure want your consciousness. They want you invested, right? The food wants your consciousness. That processed foods want you addicted. It wants you thinking about cakes and ice creams and cookies as you're running, like, now I can't wait to go get that, right? Everything wants your consciousness. But what are you going to give your consciousness to? This is a game of consciousness. He who controls his consciousness can control his reality, right? Appreciate you. But yeah, man, like, that's really when you feel the most powerful. Once you start getting in your alchemy bag, that's what really transformed my journey, especially when it came to creating the life that I wanted, was first I was in this space where, okay, I just want to think positive and think positive. And then I started to run from my negative emotions. So where I would feel a little bit of anxiety or negativity. And now I'm just trying to affirm through it. I got the puzzle piece. I was trying to affirm through it instead of truly harnessing it, right? There's a difference between me feeling down and just affirming through it and just feeling down and, this too will pass and everything's still working out, versus me feeling sad and then using that and saying, you know what, I don't want to feel like this again. Like, what version of me doesn't feel like this? What version of me does not experience situations like this? And then really just starting to use those moments to get clarity on what I actually wanted, right? So it took some time, but it's really when you can get into your bag, man. When you start using everything to create from it, right? And then there's certain days where you go back and forth between techniques. This is why I throw so many different concepts at you, right? Because on one hand, I understand that the person that cut me off in traffic, right? It's just me cutting myself off to get to a meeting that is late to with myself, right? It's just a bunch of versions of me out there, and they're doing things because they're experiencing life as well. Okay, cool. And so some days I'm very, detached and mindful of that, and there's nothing I really trip about. I'm just floating through life, enjoying every moment. Everything is a miracle. I'm looking at the trees, and I'm looking at everything that I'm creating, and I'm enjoying just conversations with my mother, etc. But there's other days where somebody cuts me off, and that energy, I immediately start transmuting. If I catch myself feeling down or feeling upset, that I'm immediately focusing on the thing that I want and using that energy to drive myself towards that desire, right? Ooh, what version of me doesn't what? I don't remember what I said. I don't remember. Anybody else remember what I said? Hopefully I wasn't just mumbling my way through that. No, I agree, for sure. There is definitely a blessing in attachment sometimes, right? There's definitely a blessing. So when I say detachment, let me be more clear, because when I say detachment, I don't mean going through life like a zombie. When I say detachment, I mean detaching from giving meaning to things. I experience pain, I still feel that, right? I experience love, and you experience connection, right, with a woman, and you still are very present through those things. But I detach from trying to imagine 10 years down the line with her, right? I surrender to, or detach from thinking that if I'm in a negative emotion, I'm not in alignment anymore, right? I detach from trying to control my emotions and trying to judge everything as right or wrong, and I allow life to flow, but I'm still present through every moment. Hopefully that makes more sense. Yeah, flow, for sure, flow. Yeah, because the outcome, I'm not here to micromanage my life. I have big things that I know I already have, and those things are unfolding. I'm seeing them more and more every day, right? But I'm detached from judging every moment. I'm just conscious through every moment. I'm enjoying every moment. I'm present, I'm healed. However, I'm not going to sit around and micromanage anything. It's a great question. Do you think the concept of law of attraction has made us scared to acknowledge? Absolutely. I think that we've, and I can't speak for everybody, I can definitely speak for myself though, and I can speak for people I've worked with is that when people have a long history in that law of attraction space, they get very scared of negative emotions. Negative emotions, they look at negative emotions like, like the devil, right? So, yes, I think so. I think law of attraction. And then you also have to think, let's be for real right now, right? If the point of, let's think about this in a different way, right? If the point of what we are in right now is to keep a lot of people controlled so that we can stay in the same mind frame and we can start thinking negatively and we can collectively create, the structure of the world. Why would we be handed a universal law that would truly liberate all of us? So when you really think about who's really pushing that, that trademark law of attraction, right? You think positive and you get positive. These are they really people that you would look to and feel like, okay, these people are just independent thinkers and they're really trying to help me live a better life? Or are they just pushing stuff to make money? If you look out in the world, does it even make sense to think if you think positive, you'll get the things that you want? Does that even make sense? Has that ever been the case with anything or anyone that you've seen, that the person that's the happiest, that walks around the happiest, they have the best life? No, that's not how it works, right? This is the same way that they'll say, oh, well, if you give a lot of money, you'll get prosperity. We know that's not true either. It is about your expectation. It's about your assumption of who you are. That is what creates reality. The moment you start thinking, if we as a collective are fed this thought process that, if you just are happy, if you just think positive, you'll get what you want, you're just going to create a whole bunch of people running around and suppressing their emotions. A whole bunch of people running from themselves, not confronting themselves, going into healing with a hidden agenda. And we even know in scripture it says, ask and you shall receive, but ask without hidden motive. What is a hidden motive? A hidden motive is, I need this to feel this. I need somebody out there to give me money so I can feel prosperity. I need somebody to come into my life so I can feel love. Right? That is a hidden motive. So when we go into this healing thing and, I have to feel better so I can get this, well, now I'm not just feeling better so I can be a better person, because the truth is that you're in alignment no matter what. Whether you do healing work or not, you're in alignment. The only person that's stopping you from actually being in alignment is you. It's the story that you're telling. So if we're constantly being fed and people are like, oh yeah, if you feel good, you're in alignment, you'll get the things that you want. You just have to walk around and be happy, like a psychopath. Right? Just walk around and be happy all the time and you'll get all the things that you want. Okay. Bottom line is that you can't run from yourself. You're confronting yourself in every moment. And the things that you suppress, if you really pay attention, the things that you suppress, what do? They show up more, right? It's as if the parts of you that you've cast out that are being reflected outside of you, if you do not acknowledge them, they look at you and they say, whoa, hold up, brother. No, you're gonna give me some attention. And they're gonna show up again and again and again. And it isn't until we start looking at our life as just a report card of our beliefs, nothing more, right? Not anything to punish me. It's not some divine test. I'm not, God's strongest soldier, so he gave me a whole bunch of tests, right? It's all just a perfect reflection. And in the perfect reflection, I see myself. It's all a miracle. So as I confront myself more and more, and I say, okay, what would I have to believe to be true? First of all, to create this. Second of all, to be feeling negative about it. Now I see, everything is just trying to teach me about myself. But if I'm only thinking But if I'm only thinking one way, right? If I'm only thinking, okay, I have to be positive, it's not going to put me in the right mindset to really start to attack who I am and to really start to try to be better. Because by doing that, I'm going to put myself in a negative state of mind. When the truth is that because God is within me, because Source is infinite love, infinite presence, infinite worthiness, I could never be anything less than worthiness or love or presence unless I say that what? That I'm only in alignment if I'm happy. Right? So the world is always trying to push these agendas to make us believe that what we want is in the future. All right. The validation is out there or it's in the future. Meaning, you believe that, okay, once I work on this and I can actually feel like I have it and I can feel happy, then I'll be in alignment to get it. What are you really doing? You're casting that desire into a future that doesn't exist. There's no such thing as the future. The future is just a thought. There's no such thing. There's nothing out there. So now, because I've put it in this future, now all of a sudden, what am I doing? I'm believing that I have to walk through time to get it. Right? But the future is just a concept. The future just means some place that I'm not yet. And so as I'm walking, that future stays constant. And so I'm always in this position of chasing down time till one day I'll feel worthy enough to have it. But we all know that your emotions can change like that. You can walk outside and what? The weather can be bad and you can feel negative. When somebody can call you with some bad news and you'll feel down. Do you know that you're still in alignment, or do you just think, oh, I have to be positive? Right? And so you're like, oh no, I can't deal with this. Let me turn my back on experiencing my humanity. All for the sake of, I'm trying to manifest this. And the law of attraction said I have to be happy. Right? Your emotions are tools. They're not anything to be controlled and tamed. Right? It's just, they're a part of you. It's just consciousness flowing through you. It's infinite intelligence flowing through you. Embrace your emotions. Use your emotions. Right? Don't run from them. Don't suppress them. But yeah, long story short, the law of attraction, yeah, all the law of attraction talks have really changed the way that we view our emotions. Yep. For sure. Using those emotions, using those big emotions. The more you feel, the more powerful you are, man. And the moment that you can control what's up here, my goodness, you can ride those emotions to the life of your dreams. How do you do it? I'll start off by saying, okay, so how do you regulate your emotions? I'll start off by saying that it's not really something that I believe you have to do, but you can do it. And you can do it in so many different ways, yeah. Meditation and breath work are gonna be the things that I would recommend first and foremost. Number one, I would say meditation. Number two, I would say breath work. If you can do a combination, then that's even better, right? So some breath work that you can focus on is, if you've ever heard of Wim Hof, WIMHOF or HOFF, Wim Hof. He has a bunch of free videos on YouTube that you can go on and you can get breath work, right? And then meditation. What I've actually found though is so being conscious has helped me with my nervous system. So if you really pay attention to emotions, what you'll realize is that you might feel something in your body that leads you to thinking. So let's say that you walk through life and you get into a heartbreak. And then after that heartbreak, you might find yourself triggered by certain things. So you can walk through life and you have a pain in your side that's associated with that heartbreak because your body stores information. This is why when you go through life, especially like if you ever think about driving, you can get in the car, you can drive somewhere, And if you've driven that route enough times, you can go very unconscious and you can just flow through it. You can wake up into consciousness when you get there and say, damn, how the fuck did I get here? It's all because your body can take over your mind. So there are going to be a lot of times where if I have been triggered in enough times, I'll store a memory in my body. And so if I go through something that reminds me of that experience, I might have a pain in my body. And the pain in the body comes before the thought. So whenever I started getting conscious, I would notice I would have this pain in my side. And then moments later, I would start thinking thoughts that matched that feeling. So all of a sudden, I would start thinking about heartbreak. I would start thinking about, things that a woman in my past did, all because of that pain. But if we're not being very conscious, we can allow that pain to happen, and it can cause our thoughts to go out of whack. And then we think, okay, well, I need to regulate something, and really, you just need to be more conscious of your thoughts, because those feelings that you're having, those emotions that you're having, it is just your body saying, okay, cool, we can be in charge now, because your body just wants to protect you. Your ego, your mind just wants to protect you. Your consciousness wants to protect you. It doesn't want you in the same kind of bullshit situations that you were in before. So it's just going to give you signals. It's going to make you think a certain way to protect you. Yeah, you don't want to go there because this happened before. And one of the real interesting studies that was done was these people, they were told to walk down the street, okay? And so when they walked down the street, they were just told to walk there and back. So they walked down, they came back. When they came back, they started getting questions. People would be like, okay, look, what was the color of this mannequin? What shirt was it wearing? And some things they remembered, some things they didn't, okay? I'm about to land home with this. This is a good point. So some things they remembered, some things they didn't. So after they questioned them, they put them under hypnosis, okay? So they hypnotized their ass. And when they hypnotized them, they put them in a trance, they started asking them questions, and all of a sudden they could recall everything, every detail. They could recall the patterns on the pavement. They could count the people that they passed on the street. They could tell you the shoelaces were untied on this person, right? They could tell you all these details. Why? Because your mind is a filter. Okay, because you're pulling in so much information, your conscious mind is only focused on what you think is important. So if you're walking, you're not thinking that counting the amount of people that are walking by you or the color of that person's shoelaces are important, but your mind is getting all of it. Okay? So I say this to say, when you're going through situations and you're triggered, or you go through a difficult time, you might not even be consciously aware of all the things that trigger you. From a conscious perspective, you might say, oh, well, this triggered me and that triggered me. You might go talk to a therapist and they might say big things because you've been cheated on in the past. This is happening, yada, yada, and now you think this way. But you could be triggered by certain things that are so below your conscious awareness that it's very difficult for you to pinpoint when you're going to get certain feelings. It could be a fork. Somebody picks up a fork a certain way, right? And this is how somebody was doing it before they cheated on you, and now all of a sudden, boom, that's triggering you. Okay? Or all kinds of different things could happen because this is how much memory your mind stores. So I'll say that to say we might not ever be able to catch all the things that are triggering us and work on those things, but we can always be consciously aware of the story that we're telling on top of whatever emotion that we're feeling in the moment. Okay, so that's number one. But number two, getting back to the first point, if you really want to regulate the nervous system, number one is going to be breath work. Number two is going to be meditation. Ideally, both of them together, right? Set aside time to, in the morning before you go to bed, set aside about an hour, man. Go into your meditation, and don't go into your meditation with any real purpose, right? Go into it and allow your body, your mind to do what it does. So as you're breathing, right, feel your breath. And then if there are any emotions that are flowing through you, okay, instead of trying to push them away if they're negative, if there's any feeling that's coming up in your body, right, start to see, okay, is this feeling leading me to thoughts? Really start to study yourself. Use that time in meditation to study. All right. Make yourself the true like scholar of your own experience. You want to be a student of your own experience. So, okay, boom, I feel this. And when I feel this, all of a sudden I had an inclination to start thinking in a certain way. Why? Right? And sometimes it doesn't even matter the why, right? I think that's the therapy trap is, right? When you try to figure out why certain things are happening, okay, that might be important, it might help, but really I'm having this behavior. These are the inputs and these are the outcomes in my life. I simply want to change the inputs. I want to change like what I'm doing, like how I'm experiencing life. I want to change. I want to make sure that I'm not reacting in the same way so I don't get the same type of outcomes. Right? That's the most important part in my perspective. So use your meditation to study yourself. When are you feeling things? When you feel certain things in your body, does it make you think a certain way? And you'll start to get so deep on this where you might start sensing, oh, when I have like an itch, all of a sudden my mind wants me to move and switch tasks. And then the next day you might be working and you realize, oh, I have that same feeling. And all of a sudden my brain's like, oh, no, put this down and go do something else. But you become conscious of yourself and you say, no. I'm going to continue to stay down this path. All right? So this is how you really start to control the body. And this really goes to what I was saying about detachment, right? That's why I practice detachment. I try not to judge my feelings or the triggers that come up in my body, right? Those things are going to happen. What do I want to use them for? And now everything that happens in your experience becomes your tool. Your life becomes your playground. Okay? Every emotion, every pain that you feel, every trigger, these things are it's another tool to add to the toolbox. Okay? If you could walk through your life and you knew, oh, if somebody says something like this, it'll probably remind me of this thing and it might cause me to think negatively or go down this loop. Well, if I already know that, knowledge is power, right? The moment I know this, the moment I'm consciously aware of it, it's a choice if I want to go down that loop now. But I can also make a choice not to. I can also make a choice to change that trigger. It only became a habit because you did it so many times unconsciously. But now if you do it enough times consciously, you can make a new habit. So you can start taking over all these, thought loops, all these feelings in your body. You can start controlling them. This is, grabbing the demons instead of allowing them to whoop our ass. We start using them to create the life that we want. So that would be my thing. And then what actually really helped me as well is so meditation, breath work, being conscious, and understanding my triggers, understanding what certain things meant in my body, really becoming, the observer, truly becoming the observer. Another thing was, faith, man. I had a situation where I thought my life was gonna fall apart. And I came down this manifesting path. And once I rode the wave of not speaking against myself, not thinking against myself, and watched my thoughts come into fruition, right? And also realized that my body was a circus during this time, right? So I thought I was only thinking in one direction. I was thinking as if I had it, but my nervous system was going crazy, right? My body was like the circus, man, at that time. The way that I was feeling was insane. But watching that it didn't matter how my body felt, as long as I kept my mind in one direction and allowing it to just be made manifest, boom. That really calmed me down, because after that I was like, oh shit. There's nothing holding me back except for my beliefs, my expectations, my thoughts, right? The things that I can control. Now I can do this work to regulate my system, but I do that for me. But I never needed that shit. The only thing that I needed was the story that I was telling. That was it. All right. It wasn't holding me back at all. So there was magic. There was a lot of magic in that. Feeling sleepy as soon as you think about going to the gym. Yeah, that is a trigger. That is a trigger. So shit, just getting to the gym is a win then. I feel you. Oh, the YouTube channel is Wim Hof. W-I-M. Matter of fact, I'll put it in this document. But it's spelled W-I-M and then H-O-F. Breath work. It's either H-O with one F or H-O-F-F. One of the two. Yeah, TikTok always filtering comments. He's got keywords that it looks for. You say certain words, it'll take you out. How to attract your man, being loyal and faithful. A man that you already have or a man that you want? Somebody you're trying to change or somebody new you're trying to get? Same way either way, right? You just see that person as perfect. One exercise that I would do if I was y'all, right, is let's say that you want this person. Do you know exactly the traits that you want? Like, could you write down a list of 10 things that you want in this partner? All right. And if you could actually write those things down, in the moment that you write them down, accept them as true, accept that right now that person is coming towards you, and then accept that that person is coming to you, fold up that piece of paper, let it go, understand that source knows exactly what you want, and then you're going to embody and hold yourself as the person that has that person. Meaning, if you had them, you wouldn't be needing them to come. You wouldn't be needing them to show up for you because you already have them, all right? You have to think from the position of already having that faithful, loyal person. So now you have to start changing the story that you tell about yourself in all areas, right? You can't identify as someone who gets cheated on. You can't identify as someone who picks unfaithful people. What is the story that you're telling about the men that come into your life? Are you telling yourself the story that the men that come and show up in your life are loyal and faithful to you? They can't get enough of you, right? Are you telling that story? So you have to embody that person. Everybody that you meet is just going to be out picturing stories that you tell within yourself. Okay? It's a very simple process. Whatever story that you are telling, that is the script that you're handling everybody in your life. This is why you can even go to sleep with somebody and you wake up the next day and it feels like they're a completely different person. They're a completely different person because they are. You're always switching versions. All right. If you really want to play the game of your expectations, instead of just focusing on one person, start focusing on all the people that are close to you in your experience. Start really paying attention to how they act. Start paying attention to your assumptions and your expectations about that. Are there certain people that if you have something difficult to talk about, you already assume that they're going to take it a certain way? You already assume that they're going to receive this negatively, or maybe I should go to this person instead because they'll actually be more excited for me. Start paying attention to those stories that you are telling. All right? As you're telling those stories, you'll start seeing that people show up that way. The only time people really surprise you is when you expect to be surprised. You think that they're going to surprise you. You believe that they're going to surprise you, so they do. All right? So in my opinion, it's so in my opinion, that's one of the lies that we're told. Is that we have to accept things. When you come into the understanding of who you are, right? And you realize that this divine source energy flows through you, okay? And when I first walk up to somebody, I'm meeting a version of them. And from that moment, I begin to create assumptions and expectations about who they are. And as I'm creating assumptions and expectations of who they are, it's like I'm flipping through realities. Like, oh, no, I want you to act a little bit like this. Oh, no, wait, go back a little bit. And I'm selecting. I begin the process of selecting them on my expectations, on my beliefs, and in the stories that I am telling. All right. So the initial first time that we meet, we're blank slates. I might be meeting the center point of their consciousness. I might not be. I might just be meeting somebody that matches my previously held expectations about people. But from that moment, I now start to create new expectations about this person, new thoughts about this person, how they're going to be. And then they begin to act accordingly based on the role that I give them. When we start saying things like, we have to accept things for how they are, we are denying our desires. We're denying ourself as source. And by denying ourself as source, suppressing that God power within us, we deny ourselves the opportunity to truly meet the best of ourselves out in this world. All right. Your inner self already knows, but it takes discipline to let it flow on and not hold that. So reality, your inner self always knows, right? And so, reality is always reflecting ourselves, always. What else y'all got? When I get on, shoot, whenever I have time. So I trade, so typically I get in after I trade, so either around 10, 11 a.m. Or just anytime I get free. Today I had to go run a couple errands, and so I jumped on later. But I don't really have a set time. I try to do it around 9 or 10 a.m. And if I can't do it, then I just jump on whatever I can, man. Yeah, I'll talk more about everybody is you pushed out. Absolutely. All right, think about reality like this, all right? Right now, you are a single point of consciousness. All right? And everybody else is a single point of consciousness in their own reality. So when we talk about everything unfolding from within you, yes, everybody else is an individual person. And this knowledge isn't really needed, but it could help you. I'm gonna go as deep as I believe can answer the question clearly. So everyone is their own person and a reflection of you. So we have to dismantle the way. We have to dismantle the way that we are actually thinking about it. All right, so right now, imagine that you are right now in your own reality. You are a single point of consciousness, and there are infinite versions of you. All right? There is a version of you that is experiencing life in every single different way. Okay? All right, there's a different version of you that is experiencing all kinds of different lives. So there's a version of you that's rich, there's a version of you that's poor, there's a version of you that doesn't exist because they've passed away. There are all these different versions of you based on your expectations, based on your beliefs, based on your trauma, based on what you have went through and all of these things, okay? Now, the same way that there are different versions of you, there's different versions of everybody else, right? So the version of them that I am receiving is in alignment with my expectations, my beliefs, my story. So I'm constantly rolling through different versions of everybody that I experience. The same way that everybody else is experiencing a different version of me. Meaning, I could be experiencing a version of you, but you could be experiencing a completely different version of me in your reality. Okay? So when we are going out here and we're talking about manifesting people, we're not changing anyone. What we're doing is we're choosing a version of them that is in alignment with who we are, with our expectation, with our beliefs. So when we talk about them being reflections of us, what we're talking about is they're being reflections of our expectations, not literally in the sense of they're coming from within you, but also, well, they are. But if you think about it from a matrix perspective, you are simply allowing the person to exist that closely matches your expectations. So yes, everybody is a reflection of you in that sense. They're reflecting parts of you, aspects of you, right? Certain fears that you have, certain desires that you hold, things that you think you can't obtain, things that you think you cannot obtain are reflected in other people. So all these things are from within you being projected into reality and allowing the all-seeing eye of everybody out there to simply conform to what you believe, to what you expect. No, that is a good question. Bro, what is up with this screen? Well, no, a version of you would be showing up exactly the way that they would expect it. This is your free will and their free will, right? So your expectations are only going to match the version of them whose free will is in alignment with you, okay? So nobody's changing you. You have free will in your reality. Everyone has free will in their reality, but your free will, who you are being right now, what you are expecting, you are just picking the version of them that's in alignment with what you expect. So y'all's free wills always match. Your free wills always match the people that you're dealing with. All right. And so right now, so it's a two-way match, always. It's a two-way match. You're reflecting them, they're reflecting you. Both ways. That was another question I missed. What up? Any practical tools to help shift your self-perception? Practical. Sure. So one thing, all right, so yeah, practical. Let's go as practical as possible. Let's talk about this very practically. So I want you to start breaking down your days or breaking down your life into weeks and months, right? So set a goal for every single week on what you actually want to accomplish. So start thinking about the things that you want to accomplish and then break it down. Let's say you want to get in better shape, you can put it like that. And getting in better shape requires you to work out 5 days a week. Eat a certain type of diet, watch your calories, whatever the case may be. So you have 7 days in a week. I want you to break that down, and I want you to give yourself a check every time that you accomplish a goal. I want you to give yourself an X every time that you miss it. And any time that you have an X, ask yourself, why did I miss this? Okay? What was the reason I missed this, and how can I not miss this again? So let's say that you were gonna go work out in the morning. You went out last night, got drunk. You thought you were gonna still wake up to work out, but you couldn't get up. And then work started. You were like, okay, I'm just gonna go work out later on, but you got too busy. Okay, perfectly fine. It happens. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna say, okay, well, cool. Well, if I need to work out 5 days a week, how can I stop this from happening? Instead of me getting drunk or staying out at a certain time, I'll make sure that I'm home by 10. Maybe I'll only have one drink during the week, or I'll have no drinks during the week. Okay? So now you have an actionable plan. So you say, okay, this is how I'm going to change my life. Monday through Friday, the days I'm going to work out, I am not going to be out after 10 o'clock on those nights. And what you'll see is that once you start doing this week after week, hitting the goals won't be as important as the power that you are going to feel in having control of your life. Because how most people set goals is they'll say, okay, I want to do something 5 days, 30 days, 100 days, or a year. We see New Year's resolutions all the time. People will start trying to work towards those goals. And what happens whenever they can't get towards it, or they can't get to it? They'll just stop and be, oh shit, I messed up, right? Once they mess up, they just leave the path. And this actually erodes your sense of self-worth. Now we talk about your worthiness because you are the divine, because you are source. You could never be less worthy, right? But we're gonna talk about this from a self-worth, how you view yourself aspect. Now, if I'm constantly making goals and I'm not achieving them, I'm gonna lose trust with myself. When I'm lose trust with myself, I'm gonna look at myself less. But when I'm making goals, and instead of just focusing on whether I'm hitting them or not, I'm actually doing things to improve my life holistically. So now all of a sudden, boom, okay, I know I don't stay out past 10. Now, Wednesday night, this girl that you really like hits you up, right? The one that does all the things that you want. She wants to come over. You say, okay, cool. And she comes over and she stays till 2. And then the next morning you still struggle to get up. Now, let's say you don't hit the workout, or you don't have as good of a workout. And you have another decision to make. How can I alleviate this? Okay, well, maybe I don't even have people over past 10 on these days. And what you see is you'll start baselining your life. Addition by subtraction. Once you start baselining your life, then things get better. Many times to change our self-concept or change our sense of self-worth, right? We'll just try to add a bunch of things in our life without really looking at, okay, what are the behaviors that I could simply change easily that can improve my overall life? And just in undergoing this process, you'll start realizing how powerful you are. Like, oh shit, just by implementing certain rules, I can live life better. Because this is the thing, we'll go to corporate jobs after every quarter, after months, or we'll have weekly check-ins, and people will say, okay, this is how things are going. This is what we need to change. This is what we need to improve on. This is what we're going to do better. This is what we're going to stop doing. But we don't take that same initiative in our life. This is how the companies continue to get better and better. Processes continue to get better and better. So once we become that overall PM of our life, that project manager of our life, that CEO of your life, well, now all of a sudden your self-worth improves all the time. Because instead of just trying to add things, I'm going to add goals, I'm going to do this, I'm actually going to start taking a deep look at myself and saying, okay, what do I have to do better? What am I missing out on, right? Like I have a spreadsheet that I track everything on. I track the calls I make a day. I track the content I do. I track the trades I take. I track what I eat. I track everything, all just in an effort to maintain control of my life. So that's what helps me. That would be the number one step that I would do is when you start setting goals, to actually start, keeping track of not only do you hit the goal or not, but if you don't hit it, why not, and what could you actually do better to allow yourself to get it. All right. Absolutely. There's an element of curiosity about emotions, holding yourself accountable, and building self-trust. Absolutely. So, yeah, holding yourself accountable, man, that improves so many areas of our life, right? And we see this all the time, man. when we even sense that people outside of us don't hold themselves accountable, we feel a certain type of way about it. Holding yourself accountable makes you more attractive to others, makes you more attractive to yourself. All right. Once you become someone who is accountable, I want to understand what my emotions are telling me. I want to understand what these feelings in my body, what is my nervous system trying to tell me? I want to understand what these patterns in my life are trying to tell me, right? Like I say, you look at everything in your life as a synchronicity. It's not just when numbers appear, when twos appear, right? If you've experienced something more than once, you experience this thing twice. Every time I'm in this situation, a similar thing happens. This is a synchronicity. This is an opportunity to grow, an opportunity to face yourself, right? To learn, right? The source within you, the God within you speaks in numbers, speaks in patterns. So the more curious you can get about yourself, the better your life gets. Yeah, man, accountability is key. It's key. It's key in getting yourself together just to be a better human, not even on the spiritual path, right? Like in all areas of your life. Life is multidimensional in all areas. Accountability is just going to make your life better in every way. You can't really create the reality that you want without accountability. Until you truly become accountable, your life will stay the same or it will go downhill. But the more accountable you get, the more your life improves in every level. In every level. All right, y'all, it's almost 5:30. Your boy's about to jump off of here. But I hope y'all have a divine weekend. Let's do some affirmations and let y'all out. All right. You are divine. You are prosperity. You are perfect. You are all that there is. All right. Source is within you. And so you could never be anything less than worthy. You could never be anything less than love. You are perfect. You are absolutely divine. Everything that you want, you already have it. Every moment is getting you closer and closer to the actualization of it. Okay, you are gods, you are goddesses, and you have no limitations except for the limitations that you place on yourself, right? Everything is for you. Everything is perfect. The situation might not look ideal, but the God within you is perfect, so the situation must be unfolding perfectly, okay? Y'all have a beautiful, beautiful evening. If you don't feel divine, if you don't feel like prosperity is cool, because I see you as that way anyway, so I know that it must be true, all right? Y'all have a beautiful, beautiful evening. Until next time, God willing, peace.